The room was large and stifling, and though it was already 4 o'clock, opening the windows admittedly only a gust of hot shrubbery from the park, Daisy went to the mirror and stood with her back to us, fixing her hair.
It's a swell suite. Open another window.
There aren't any more.
Well, we'd better telephone for an axe then.
The thing to do is forget about the heat. You'll make it worse by crabbing about it.
Why not let her alone, old sport? You're the one that wanted to come to town.
Excuse me.
I'll pick it
I'll
up.
get it.
That's a great expression of yours, isn't it?
What is?
All that old sport business. Where'd you pick that up?
Now see here, Tom, if you're gonna make personal remarks, I'm not gonna stay here 1 minute. Call up and order some ice for the mint julep. Imagine marrying anybody in this heat. Still, I was married in the middle of June. Louisville, in June. Someone fainted. Who was it fainted, Tom?
Billixie.
A man named Billixie. Blocks Billixie. And he made boxes. That's a fact. He was from Billixie, Tennessee. They carried him into my house because we lived just 2 doors from the church. And he stayed 3 weeks until Daddy told him he had to get out. The day after he left, Daddy died. There wasn't any connection.
I used to know Bill Billixie from Memphis.
That was his cousin. I knew his whole family history before he left. He gave me an aluminum putter that I still use to this day. We're getting old. If we were young, we'd rise and dance. Remember Billixie? Where'd you know him, Tom?
Oh, Billixie? I didn't know him. He was Daisy's friend.
He was not. I've never met him. He came down in the private car.
Well, he said he knew you. He was born and raised in Louisville. Asperberg brought him around and asked if we had room for him.
He was probably bumming his way home. He told me he was the president of your class at Yale.
Tom and I looked at each other blankly.
Billixie? First of all, we didn't have a president. By the way, Mr. Gatsby, I understand you're an Oxford man.
Not exactly.
Oh yes, I understand you went to Oxford.
Yes, I went there.
You must have gone there about the same time Billixie went to New Haven.
I told you, I went there.
I heard you, but I'd like to know when.
It was in 1919. I only stayed there for 5 months, so I can't really call myself an Oxford man.
Tom glanced around to see if we mirrored his unbelief, but we were all looking at Gatsby.
It was an opportunity they gave to some of the officers after the armistice. We could go to any of the universities in England or France.
Open the whiskey, Tom, and I'll make you a mint julep. Then you won't seem so stupid about yourself. Look at the mint.
Wait a minute. I want to ask Mr. Gatsby one more question.
Go on.
What kind of row are you trying to cause in my house anyway?
He isn't causing a row. You're causing a row. Please, have a little self-control.
Self-control? I suppose the latest thing is to sit back and let Mr. Nobody from nowhere make love to your wife. If that's the idea, you can count me out. Nowadays, people begin by sneering at family life and family institutions. The next thing you know, they'll throw everything overboard and have intermarriage between black and white.
We're all white here.
I know I'm not very popular. I don't give big parties. I suppose you've got to make your house into a pigsty in order to have any friends in the modern world.
See, I've got something to tell you, old sport.
Please don't. Please, let's all go home. Why don't we all just go home?
That's a good idea. Come on, Tom. Nobody wants a drink. I want to know what Mr. Gatsby has to tell me.
Your wife doesn't love you. She's never loved you. She loves me.
You're crazy!
Gatsby sprang to his feet, vivid with excitement.
She never loved you, do you hear? She only married you because I was poor and she was tired of waiting for me. It was a terrible mistake, but in her heart, she's never loved anyone except me.
At this point, Jordan and I tried to go, but Tom and Gatsby insisted with competitive firmness that we remain, as though neither of them had anything to conceal, and it would be a privilege to partake vicariously of their emotions.
Sit down, Dizzy. What's going on?
I told you what's going on. Going on for 5 years now, and you didn't know.
You've been seeing this fellow for 5 years?
No, not seeing. No, we couldn't meet. But both of us loved each other all this time, old sport, and you didn't know. You know, I used to laugh sometimes to think that you didn't know.
Oh, that's all. You're crazy! I can't speak about Daisy 5 years ago because I didn't know her then. But I'll be damned if I see how you got within a mile of the house unless you were bringing groceries to the back door. And the rest is all a goddamn lie. Daisy loved me when she married me, and she loves me now.
No.
She does, though. The trouble is that sometimes she gets foolish ideas in her head and doesn't know what she's doing. But what's more, I love Daisy too. And every once in a while I'll go off on a spree and make a fool of myself, but I always come back. And in my heart I love her all the time.
You're revolting. Do you know why we left Chicago? I'm surprised they didn't treat you to the story of that little spree.
Daisy, it's all over now. Doesn't matter anymore. Just tell him the truth, that you never loved him. And it's all wiped out forever.
Why? How could I love him? Possibly.
You never loved him.
She hesitated. Her eyes fell on Jordan and me with a sort of appeal, as though she realized at last what she was doing, and as though she had never, all along, intended doing anything at all. But it was done now. It was too late.
I never loved him.
Not at Capiolani?
No.
Not that day that I carried you down from the punch bowl to keep your shoes dry? Daisy.
Please don't. There, Jay. You want too much. I love you now. Isn't that enough? I can't help what's in the past. I did love him once, but I loved you too.
You loved me too?
Even that's a lie. She didn't know you were alive. There are things Daisy and I have done that you'll never know. Things that neither of us will ever forget.
The words seemed to bite physically into Gatsby.
I want to speak to Daisy alone. She's all excited now.
Even alone, I can't say I never loved Tom. It wouldn't be true.
Of course it wouldn't.
As if it mattered to you.
Of course it does. I'm going to take better care of you from now on.
No, you don't understand. You're not going to be taking care of her anymore.
I'm not? Why's that?
Daisy's leaving you.
Nonsense.
I am, though.
She's not leaving me, and certainly not for a common swindler like you who would have to steal the ring he put on her finger.
I won't stand this, so let's just get out.
Who are you anyhow? You're one of the bunch that hangs around with Mayor Wolfsheim. That much I happen to know. I've made a little investigation into your affairs. I plan to carry it out further tomorrow.
Yeah, you can suit yourself about that, old sport.
I know what your drugstores were. He and this Wolfsheim brought up a lot of side street drugstores here and in Chicago and sold grain alcohol over the counter. That's one of his little stunts. I picked him for a bootlegger the first time I saw him, and I wasn't far wrong.
Yeah, what about it? I guess your friend Walter Chase wasn't too proud to come in on it.
And you left him in the lurch, didn't you? You let him go to jail for a month over in New Jersey. God, you ought to hear Walter on the subject of you.
He came to us dead broke. He was very glad to pick up some money, old sport.
Don't you call me old sport. Walter could have you up on the betting laws too. But Wolfsheim scared him into shutting his mouth. That drugstore business was just a small change. But you've got something on now that Walter's afraid to tell me about.
I glanced at Daisy, who was staring terrified between Gatsby and her husband, and at Jordan, who had begun to balance an invisible but absorbing object on the tip of her chin. Then I turned back to Gatsby, and was startled at his expression. He looked, and this is said in all contempt for the babbled slander of his garden, as if he had killed a man. For a moment the set of his face could be described in just that fantastic way. It passed, and he began to talk excitedly to Daisy, denying everything, defending his name against accusations that had not been made, but with every word she was drawing further and further into herself. So he gave that up, and only the dead dream fought on as the afternoon slipped away, trying to touch what was no longer tangible, struggling unhappily, undespairingly, toward that lost voice across the room.
Please, Tom, I can't stand this anymore.
You two start on home, Daisy. In Mr. Gatsby's car. Go on, he won't annoy you. I think he realizes that his presumptuous little flirtation is over.
They were gone, without a word, snapped out, made accidental, isolated, like ghosts, even from our pity.
You want any of this? Jordan? Nick?
I didn't answer.
Nick, what? Want any? No, I just remembered today's my birthday.
I was 30. Before me stretched the portentous, menacing road of a new decade.